What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the AFC podcast. I'm your host, Phil Cappadora. Today, my very special guest, John Maslowski, who is a, filmmaker, contestant for the Triborough Film Festival this year. We're going up on January 25th, 2025. His film is called If I Were a Drug. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive about him, his journey, his filmmaking background, what inspired him to make this movie. So give a round of applause for John. Welcome to the AFC podcast, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, man. It's a real treat, and I'm really enjoying actually meeting all the filmmakers from the Triborough Film Festival because this is we're on season 3 right now, and this year is actually really blossoming. Like we got over 50 films, and I think we're getting really close to like 24 hours of footage that we're going to be showing at season 3, and your film was included, and I guess now's the time to kind of just like let's talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
What made you want to make this short film?
Right. Well, the reason I made it is I wanted to visualize a poem I had written. The dialogue with the puppet, it's actually a poem I wrote earlier this year. And I just wanted to try to find a way to visualize it. And I've been making mostly animated films the last 2 years, but what I try to do is I try to have a different type of animation every time I make a new film. And although this is an animation, it's a live action puppet. I just I go to a lot of festivals and I can't recall the last time I saw a film with a puppet. So I just saw it. I just wanted to, do something different.
Is your background like in CGI animation, stop motion?
No, I mean I've made one stop motion. I've made a lot of animated films, but I can't draw or anything. So I get the animators and I sit with them and I'm like, look, this is what I want to do. And we take it from there. Like I don't probably do it the most efficient way. Like I don't have storyboards and whatnot. But with If I Were a Drug, I just saw the opportunity to make it with a puppet, and that's why I did it with the puppet.
So tell me more about the poem. How'd you end up writing that?
Yeah, earlier this year I started writing poetry again. I did in the past, and I'm not sure how I started again, but I started again this year, and I was going to open mic nights here in Cleveland. I live in Cleveland, and I don't know, the ideas for the poems, they just pop into my head. Um, yeah, so that's the story with the poems.
Did you go to college for writing or anything like that?
No, I went to college. I was a history major, and then after that, I went to law school. So law school was beneficial because it really taught me how to be a good writer. Yeah.
Okay. And did you ever have a career like as an attorney before becoming more of an artist filmmaker?
Oh, yeah. I was an attorney for quite a while. I was fortunate, though, I was able to stop working. And yeah, after I stopped working, I started getting into the filmmaking.
Alrighty. And how long would you say that you've been filmmaking now?
I think the first short film I made was in 2018, I believe.
Oh, okay. And what made you want to do the switch? Like, what got you curious about it?
Um, well, I didn't like being a lawyer. That's why I got out. And then when I was a kid in the 1980s, when you had the VHS camera that was this big and you had to carry the tape player on you, my friends and I, we would make little like films and music videos. So I was doing that when I was a little kid. So I always kind of had that in me. And then I started doing some acting. And then I went to a film festival, and this gentleman made a film on his phone, on his smartphone. And I couldn't believe it because you never would have known. So after I saw that, I made my first film on my smartphone. And that's when it started. Then I just kept making more and more. I'm pretty much always working on one ever since 2018.
Oh, alrighty. How many do you think that you probably got under your belt so far?
around 40 maybe.
40?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So walk me through a couple of these. Are these any of these animation, mostly puppetry, poetry,
Um,
anything like that?
well, I've only made one with one with the puppet, but the very, very first one, I found an app that has CGI in it, and my films are like always super short. So it's just a real, this guy's walking through the forest and this like huge spider comes and kills him. And that's pretty much it. But the spider looks pretty realistic. It was from this app. And it's a CGI generated spider. But the film, it was simple, but it did really well. It got into the Cleveland Film Festival, which is an Academy Award qualifying festival, and it got into a lot of festivals. And ever since then, I've made some live action ones, but the last 2, 3 years, it's been pretty much just animation.
Oh, very cool. How do you feel about AI? What's your experience been like with it?
Yeah, that's interesting question. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think I made one film with AI, and it was a lot easier for sure than making a film not using AI. I'm not sure how I feel about it though. I mean, in a general sense, I try not to use it. I'm not sure why, but when it comes to filmmaking, generative AI, I don't know. I don't know. I just like I was at a film festival once and someone said, "Oh, has anyone made a film with AI?" And then someone else said, "No, I don't cheat." So I don't know. I just like for filmmaking, I don't use it, and in my general life, I really don't use it either. I just feel like, you know, there's a risk to it, and things are moving a little too fast with it.
Maybe. Did you find anything positive from it?
Well, it was a lot easier. It took me a fraction of the time. Sometimes it takes months for me to make an animated film, and I made this in a couple hours. So big difference in that regard.
Did you get any like response or reviews? Did you ever show any of your work to kind of like get an idea of perspective, or is it just for you?
Yeah, I think I submitted it to like one or two festivals, and they didn't they didn't have in-person screenings. So, I like to watch a film with an audience, but with the AI one, I just sent it to one or two and they selected it, but I never got any feedback about it. You know.
Well, what was that about?
What's
Was that
that?
was that the spider one?
Oh, no, this was about a drone. Again, my films are usually like super short and it's just about a drone. It's more of a visualization. It's about a drone in the future and there's some narration and music. Um, so yeah, it's a pretty simple film.
How'd you come up with the music or the musical score for the film?
Yeah, luckily on the internet, there's lots of royalty-free music websites. So I usually use a royalty-free website.
Sure.
There's also a stock footage site called Pond, Pond, Pond 5. And I think I use, you pay a small amount of money, but you could use their music. So I think I used Pond 5. Yeah.
Oh, all righty, cool. Noted, everybody. If you need music, go to Pond Five, check it out.
Yeah.
And how about moving forward? What would you like to, what would you like to do? Would you like to like collaborate, get into like try to do a short film? You have a script maybe that you want to see like produced one day?
Um, I do have a short screenplay. It's a horror film, and I just haven't gotten around to making it yet. I just finished an animated film. It's called Blue, and I've submitted that to some festivals. So I do have one short screenplay though that I want to, produce. It's a horror film.
Oh, Carol Ann Plank, if you're listening, you got yourself another horror person here. Just did an interview recently with one of our filmmakers, Carol Ann Plank. She's releasing her trailer. I think it's called yeah, it's not a short film, it's a trailer. It's called, I think it was All of Us. That's going to be presented during the Triborough this year.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, things have been moving along pretty good. The word is out there, and people are like, "Oh, let's try this one. Let's check this one out." And like, so far, so good. Not bad for season three.
All right, awesome.
So I guess in the long term, is this something you see yourself doing like more as a hobby, or would you like to kind of like develop into something a little bit more artistic?
Yeah, I definitely view it more as a hobby. I don't want to make any money from it. Not that I have the opportunity much, but I don't try to get it distribution for it or anything. I just submit it to festivals, and I usually go to the festivals. So yeah, it's more of a hobby thing. Like I said, I'm not interested in money, and I pay for everything myself. So it's more just a passion thing, passion projects.
Growing up as a kid, or even now, did you have like a favorite movie?
My all-time favorite movie is Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've watched that movie more than I've watched any other movie. Yeah, yeah.
And Ingrid Bergman?
Yes, yes, she's in it. And I think it's an amazing film because it has several different genres in it at once. It has drama, comedy, it has a love story, it has action sequences, and the actors, Humphrey Bogart, all the actors, Peter Lorre, they're just such good
Yeah.
actors, and they just brought the characters to life so well. So yeah, that's my favorite movie.
Not too many people have ever really seen that movie, and I understand why how like it really it spread itself across, like you said, like multiple genres. And it wasn't really about like it was a wartime movie, but it wasn't about the fight or the war. But like this was a story about like reconciliation, about restoration, about bad timing, about everyday people that really do go through things. And it just so happened to be during occupied Nazi Germany, and where was it, Morocco?
Um, can't remember. I
I
think it
think.
was Morocco. Maybe I can't remember exactly what country.
I'm almost certain it was Morocco, and I'm trying to think. It was the blue. The name of the club, I think, was the Blue something.
Well, Rick's club was Rick's Cafe American. That was Humphrey Bogart's club. And there was another club, I think, Blue, let me turn this up, sorry, Blue Parrot or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Blue Pelican.
Yeah,
That's
close. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. It won the Best Picture, and but yeah, you don't really hear people talking about it too much. I mean, it is like it came out, I think, like in 1946, so it is like 80 years old. But among film enthusiasts, film enthusiasts have seen it, and if you go to a list of like the 100 greatest films or the 50 greatest films, it's always on those lists.
Oh, the Siskel and Ebert book.
Yeah, on that book, and I think the American Film Institute. There's a lot of websites and stuff that have lists of the greatest films ever made, and it's always on those lists.
That's sweet, man. No,
Yeah,
I'm really glad that like people, just outside the industry can really appreciate these things, and just appreciate it for what it actually is meant to be. And here you are, kind of getting yourself immersed into it a little bit.
yeah, and it's interesting. A pair of twin brothers wrote the script, and they were from Brooklyn, and I'm from Brooklyn, so I kind of feel like a little bit of a connection to it.
Oh, where were you born?
I was born, well, I was born in Queens at St. John's Hospital, but I lived in Greenpoint until I was 11. And then when my family and I moved, we moved to Staten Island. So now I live in Cleveland, but I'm always consider myself a New Yorker first.
Well, you can't take the New Yorker out of somebody, no matter where they go.
This is true. And I'm fortunate. I get to go back. My sister lives in the city, so I go back. I've gone back quite often. I was there last month. So yeah, I like New York. It's just, circumstances took me out here and it all worked out. I'm very fortunate, but I love New York.
I too was born in Brooklyn. I was born in Canarsie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, then settled in Queens in 2014, stayed until like mid 2021. I'm back and forth all the time. Had a back injury that really set me back, but now I'm actually, doing pretty good, and I'll probably end up moving back shortly. It's just, it's like finding a place in the city right now is like it's a headache, and it's like I'm already stressed out enough. That's one less thing I want to worry about. I'm
Sure.
literally I get to everywhere in Queens I need to go in less than an hour. And even if I did live like right down the street, I'm not gonna leave the house until 10 minutes prior. So it's like I'll just hang around my apartment or sit down for an hour and just kill time. And I do that same exact thing in the car. But it's like Ah, there's very little. There's like there's work down there, but nothing I really want to just what I want to do, you know?
Sure.
So I'm on the
Where do
fence.
you live now?
I grew up a lot of my childhood and graduated high school in Goshen, New York.
Oh, okay. I went to college in Albany. Okay.
Oh, all right. Actually, I was in Albany for Albany has a film festival. I think I was there. I don't know if it was March or April of this past year, and got to see a couple free movies because they do a free film festival at the college.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I went to SUNY. Cool.
You did.
Yeah.
And I almost went to community college in Troy.
Okay.
But, I think it was Hudson University or Hudson Valley College or something like that. Hudson Valley Community
Okay.
College.
Yeah, I like upstate New York. I had a very positive experience up there.
It's just like make wherever you are, just make that area better as best you can. You're
Sure.
gonna like it when you contribute.
Absolutely.
So I guess now, you said you're in Cleveland?
Yeah, now I'm in Cleveland. I've been out here for like shut my phone off. I put the sound off, but it keeps ringing.
Doing
Yeah, now I'm in Cleveland. I've been out here for about 20 years. I came out here for a job and I ended up staying. I really like it. It's different than New York, but it has advantages. It's lower cost of living and there's like no traffic and there's always a place to park and you could be in most places in 20 minutes no matter where you are. So there's advantages to the weather is not so great, but I'm from the East Coast, so it's really not that much different than New York weather.
Is it more rainy or tornado-y or something like that?
It's definitely more rainy and more cloudy. It used to snow, but like it doesn't snow it rarely snows in my neighborhood now. There are areas around me that still get a lot of snow, but for whatever reason, my particular neighborhood doesn't really get snow anymore.
Oh, okay.
Global warming, I guess. I don't know.
Well, rumor has it, and it's like you ever kind of see like some of the Hollywood films that came out. There's always that like technology element where it's a lot of things are man-made, they're controlled, they're manipulated, but when there is a natural disaster, there's a man-made thing that could actually save the world, things
Right.
like. Do you ever find any truth in some of those movies?
Um, I'm not familiar with those. Can you give me an example of one of the movies?
Uh, the one that was coming to my head mind, I think it was Hilary Swank's movie, and I think it was Journey to the Center of the World, or it was called The Core. I think it was called The Core.
Oh, okay.
I think it was called The Core, and I'm trying to think of another really good. I know the name, I know the faces of all these actors who were in it, but basically, there was this scientist that was kind of like in the background working on this machine that's like that could be like I don't know it could have been like 30, 40 acres of a facility, and somehow they were able to harness natural energy and waves, and they were able to shoot it down through the earth. And what it's supposed to do is create an earthquake at in a certain region across the world, sort of like just like a very big weapon where you could actually cause a natural disaster and make it look.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, people with pacemakers were literally just collapsing in certain areas.
Oh, okay.
Birds were freaking out, and they think that by using this technology, they literally accidentally cause some sort of pause to the Earth's core, where it was just like you literally stop the heartbeat of the planet.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. Oh my God, who's the actor who played Two-Face in Batman? You know what I mean?
It wasn't Al Pacino, was it?
Oh no, no, the recent Batman where it was
Oh, the
against.
recent one. Oh, I didn't see the recent one.
It
Okay.
was Heath Ledger, but the guy who played Harvey Dent, he also was toothpaste. He was Two-Faced, and the guy who played Two-Face was the lead actor into. I'm almost certain it's called The Core. I'm gonna have to look it up because this is a.
Oh,
But
okay.
it just got me thinking that if there is technology out there that could potentially send out just a nice little shockwave where literally a pacemaker could stop at any given point. Um, there was another one that kind of got under my skin a little bit from the movie Insurgent. Some of these people all took vaccines, and for some reason, they were all be able to be mind controlled with this technology, and they were basically the law enforcement agents. And I'm like, oh shit. So is it possible that a vaccine, depending on what's in it, could literally hack the human body like you're hacking a computer?
Yeah, I mean, if they come up with that, I wouldn't be surprised. There's some wacky stuff that's going to be coming out in the next 25 years from a technology standpoint.
And how do you feel about all the stuff that's actually happening around the world? Oh, Aaron Eckhart is his name, and Hilary Swank, and it is
Oh
called
yeah, they're both really good actors.
Yeah, without question. These guys are awesome.
Embark on your unique financial journey with Mid-Hudson Valley Federal Credit Union. Your aspirations, your milestones. We're committed to guiding you every step of the way. Whether you're saving for a dream home, planning for retirement, or seeking to consolidate debt, trust MHV to provide personalized solutions tailored to your needs. Our comprehensive range of products and services, coupled with expert financial advice, empowers you to make informed decisions and achieve your goals. Visit us online at mhvfcu.com to discover the tools and resources available to help you navigate your financial landscape with confidence and clarity. Your journey starts here.
And it's available right now on Paramount TV Plus.
Oh, okay.
Nice. That was a good movie. And I was thinking of Delroy Lindo. That was the scientist who actually came up with a certain metal that actually gets stronger with heat. And so if you go to the center of the Earth, then don't worry that there's no way that scientifically that the metal would actually would dissolve.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so that was a cool little film. I
Nice.
forgot my question. What I was just going to ask you. How do you feel like what's going on with the world between technology? You got AI, you got aliens, you got drones everywhere, all this stuff.
Um, I think it's an interesting time because there is so much technology that is presenting itself. I read a book about autonomous drones, and it was the idea that these drones could be fully autonomous in the sense that the drone decides who to kill and who not to kill. That technology exists, but fortunately, no country has implemented it. So I think it's an exciting time, but I tend to be a little cautious with new technology because I think sometimes the technology comes out so fast and develops so fast that no one says, hey, let's consider what could happen. I mean, with AI, there's all these scientists, Elon Musk, all these people that, they wrote letters and saying we should put a moratorium on it. So, I mean, I find technology really interesting, but I just think sometimes it's implemented a little too quickly nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of makes me think a little bit about like what you said. Made me think of Jurassic Park. It's even though you do have the ability to develop these things, but did you ever really ask yourself if you should stop and even think that you should?
Right, right. And then with the AI, it's just been, the companies just flooded it in like every aspect of life. So, I mean, with AI, it's like, you really can't bring it back in. It's just, the government's not really doing anything to regulate it, unfortunately. So some people think it's going to destroy humanity. I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it always makes me think of Terminator, Skynet. Skynet starts a
Yeah.
nuclear war. So It always makes me think of Terminator.
Well, I mean, like it's not that far removed from possibility, you know?
Right, exactly. It's not. It's
And
not.
even though it was like, that movie is like pretty close to like 40 years old right now. Now we're literally seeing you got iRobot and now the Tesla Optimus helper robot coming like literally coming to your house, and it's like it is surveillance, and it's helpful, but it's not going to really help you, the person. It's not useful, I would say, to like what you need to survive. Yeah, it's cool, but it's a little invasive at the same time, because you have an entity in your house, a foreign entity in your house that you don't have any control over, that you think you do, but it could literally, like, you just don't know the dangers of it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is surveillance, with smartphones, with Alexa, the companies, I mean, my understanding of it is, the companies are monitoring you and using your information to sell to advertisers. So like I don't have an Alexa because I mean, I believe it's true that, Amazon's listening to what you're doing and saying, and, they sell that information. So and I heard a phrase, like social media is free and Alexa's super cheap and basically free. So I heard a phrase, something like, when something is free, you're the product. And there's a great book about that. It's called Surveillance Capitalism. And it's about how all these companies, they have these free services, but they're not really free because they're extracting information from you, and without your consent. So I try to stay off social media. I used to be so into it, but I'm not on it that much anymore.
What was it? Surveillance what? Services?
It's called Surveillance Capitalism,
Surveillance.
and it was written by, I think she's a professor at Harvard. I forgot her name, but it's a really, really interesting book. Really interesting.
Why do you think that only a select few of us could actually, think a little bit slower or outside the box, where it's just like, are you guys sure this is a good idea?
That's a good question. Most people don't. You're right. I'm not sure why. I think, it's kind of like the mob mentality, like with TikTok, like it just exploded. And, if your friends use it, I think some people feel like, oh, my friend's doing it, I want to do it. And luckily I never got into TikTok. But, when I'm on the subway, I see people, they're just, you know, I mean, they design those platforms to be addictive. But that's a good question, why more people don't pause and consider things. I don't know why that is. I don't.
I think maybe they just never maybe they lack certain experiences where it just maybe they just don't maybe they don't know what it's like to lose something, and it's like the consequence of something just didn't really take effect because they just took the bait, they were moving too fast.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And I think nowadays a lot less people read books for pleasure. So, if you're not reading books and learning about the past, it's hard to have a context for the present.
uh what about what if it's more of a drug in itself, like because you wrote a poem like it's if I were a drug. Well, it's a curious thing, like if you were a drug, like why'd you pick that title?
That's a good question. I picked that title because I was at an open mic one night. Gentleman wrote a poem, If I Were a Bee. Um, and I kind of have I mean, I'm sober, but I have a history of drug use. So like, I heard if I were a bee, then I'm like, well, if I were a drug, if I were a drug, I would do positive things like in the film, like, you wouldn't smoke weed, you wouldn't die, you wouldn't cry, you wouldn't lie. So the idea was, if I were a drug, it would have a positive effect on people, not a negative effect.
So you're giving people an
Kind
endorphin.
of, it's kind of, I mean, it's not an anti-drug thing, but
No,
I guess it is a way in a little bit, it's sort of advocating for, you know, drugs they could make drugs that have positive effects on people, but all illegal drugs have a negative effect on people.
And why do you think that is?
Money.
What, just because it was cheaper?
Yeah, I mean, it's super easy and cheap to make fentanyl and meth, and even to grow weed now you could do it, hydroponics. So I think the cost is a lot less. And most illegal drugs, I mean, I think every illegal drug basically is addictive. So I think, money is the number one factor with illegal drugs.
So do you think like maybe like kind of just to circle back on why people do what they do without really thinking, do you think like maybe it's like maybe rooted in some sort of addictive personality where they're looking for that, I don't want to say that endorphin hit, but maybe there's a slight macro high of curiosity and that surprise that's included, like on such a small light scale, but it's so.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, drugs release dopamine, but a lot of things do, gambling, you could be addicted to gambling, people, food. So I just think there are a lot of unhappy people in the world right now. And, if something could provide a little relief, they do it. I mean, Facebook was designed to be addictive. And when you get a like, you do get a little dopamine hit. So social media, I kind of look at social media as like a slot machine. You're just always getting stimulated. Oh, I got a like. And, so I try to, like I said, I was totally addicted to Facebook. I had it on my phone and I would just like check it all day. And I'm like, I have to stop doing this. So I just think there's a lot of unhappy people, and, be it drugs or Facebook, it provides a little temporary relief.
Well, I'm kind of glad you said that, but why do you think like that actually you brought up a memory I had, I think it was yesterday. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, was the governor of California. He came across a certain statistic, and I was reading his book, Total Recall, and he mentioned everything in that book, but one thing that really stuck is that about 70% of people, or the people in California, and I think it's maybe it could be across everywhere, but it's approximately 70% of the people who are out in the workforce are unhappy with the work they do. You ever wonder why? Or is it?
I definitely believe that. That's a good question. I don't know. For me, I went to law school kind of as a default thing. It wasn't like, oh, my passion is to be a lawyer. My friend was doing it, and, I thought it would have advantages. That's why I did it, but it wasn't like a burning passion of mine. I wanted to be on the radio, and I was on the radio. I was on my college station. I was on a station in Manchester, Vermont, and I intended to make radio my career because I loved being on the radio. I love music, but I just decided, not to do it. And being a lawyer was like my default choice. So I think I've heard people say that, like, oh, I went to grad school because I didn't know what to do, or I took this job because that's the only job I could get. I don't know why. I think it's hard nowadays to say, this is what I want to do for a living and actually do it. A lot of people don't seem to do that.
Did you like have did you ever see like if you had a wide variety of skills that you obtained over your life, where it's not like you became good or decent, like a jack of all trades? Like you ever like just cast a very wide net and have more than one thing that you might consider yourself decent at, good at?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's possible. I mean, as an example for myself, like I said, that I wanted to do one thing, and then, I made a choice not to do it. And it probably was the right call because radio is very low paying. There's not a lot of jobs. So, it's hard to have a lifelong career in radio. So I feel like I did make the right choice, but I don't know. I think a lot of people just don't give it thought. They just kind of like an opportunity presents itself and they do that, because most lawyers I know are not happy, but
Right.
Like you said, I think there's a lot of people who are not happy with their job, unfortunately.
Why do you think people choose the career that they do?
I think part of it's default. Part of it is maybe, oh, my father did this, or my mother did this, or my friend is doing this. So I think that's part of it, And for myself, I wanted to do radio, and I never thought about anything else. And then when I chose not to do that, I didn't have, I didn't know what to do, and the whole law school thing came up, and I, became a lawyer.
Did you specialize in anything in particular?
Yeah, I was a litigation attorney, so I did a lot of trials and I did a lot of,
Well,
motions in court and everything. And, I mean, fortunately, I was good at it. But I didn't really like it. It was very stressful. I mean, I don't like talking in front of people, and I was talking in front of people every day. So it wasn't really, my cup of tea.
so being an actor, you don't really see yourself doing that too much.
Yeah, the acting, I stopped doing that. I'm not sure why. I think part of it is, you know, it could be a little unpleasant. Like, there was one movie, it was freezing out and the character didn't have a coat, so I got really sick. And then there was another time we were filming in an abandoned building, and I found out there was asbestos everywhere, and there was another film where it was like super hot out, so you don't have like control over your environment. If you're making an animated film, you could just sit at your desk like this. So it's more enjoyable. You have more control over what you're doing. I mean, I would like to do some more acting in the future. I mean, in the future, I might start, just trying to do it professionally. I would just start out, doing extra work. So I'll probably get back to it at some point.
How many cases do you think you litigated?
Thousands.
Oh, really? Thousands?
Thousands. I probably handled thousands of cases. Yeah, it was just like one after the other. Yep.
Was it, were you more on the prosecution side or the defense?
I did all civil work, civil defense, mostly defense for personal injury cases. Like, if somebody gets into an accident, the insurance company has to give them a lawyer. So the insurance company would hire my firm. It wasn't my firm, but the firm I worked for. So it was all civil. I didn't do any criminal.
Oh, there was this one civil case. You probably heard about it, but a guy in New York, he got crushed by a concrete column like 3 or 4 years ago
Wow.
I think like where was this? I know it was in Port Jervis, like right on the border. They were working on a bridge, and a concrete column was cut. But there was something wrong with this concrete column in a sense, because it didn't have the reinforced steel inside of it, so it automatically just fell right over. And now the man is paralyzed, and he's like 55.
Oh, that's horrible. Wow.
So you would be the guy litigating to protect the insurance agency.
That's correct.
Oh, Jesus, man. I got a chance to do a deep dive on the case and get a perspective and understand it, because they were trying to settle the case, and they needed like public opinion type of a thing. And it's really sad because you hear about these things on the news, but it's just like the circumstances are great, and they want to come to a settlement, and it's just like that's scary. Even like if you can't walk, it's not like there's no amount of money that could really
Right.
make up for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's one reason why I don't do it anymore. I mean, I feel like if a person injures another person, the injured person's entitled to compensation. And my job was to, limit the amount of compensation. So I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Was there anything else in the law, like in the law, like what is it? Do you work for the judicial branch? Is that how it works?
No, I worked for a firm. I mean, when I was in law school, I wanted to do entertainment law. Like I interned at MTV, I interned at National Geographic Television.
Bro, that's cool.
Yeah, so
That's cool.
it's very cool. I mean, yeah, MTV was fun. National Geographic Television was fun. And that's what I was going to do. But I tried to get a job. It was the old days where I print a resume, stuff the envelope, mail it out. And I tried to get an entertainment gig, but it didn't work out. Then this other opportunity. Someone's like, "Oh, it just worked for us. If you don't like it, just leave." And I stayed 6 years. So
Well, what if you, just do you got any contacts there or anything like that? Or it's like, hey, get back into it a little bit and just like, take a look.
no, I don't want to practice or do anything with the law anymore. I mean, down the road, I might do pro bono work, but I wouldn't want to do it as a career,
Good, because I got a nonprofit. Get on the team.
I don't know anything about it.
Oh, that's all right.
You have a nonprofit. I've been thinking about starting one for years, and I've never pulled the trigger on it. That's really cool that you have one.
Well, that's how it started. It was supposed to be just it wasn't supposed to be anything in particular, but it really blossomed. It was like we were just a bunch of like people having lunch, having dinner, getting together at a bar, having drinks, and just shaking hands, and just hey, who's who? And then it kind of just developed because a lot of people have their own production company, and a lot of people they want to create originals, and I'm like, all right, so there's 100 of us. What can we do?
Wow.
So I thought, all right, well, let's like, how do you even make a nonprofit? So a nonprofit was developed, got the 501c3 status during the pandemic. I
Wow.
submitted the paperwork. I think it was August of 2020, around that time. But by September, within like 5 or 6 weeks, it was approved by the state. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, it was just like they did everything right. And I did it all myself.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you did it yourself. That's cool that you did it yourself.
No, I wasn't that complicated. I think it was called like the Easy 43 or Easy 1043 or something like that. And basically, if you're going to register your corporation as a not-for-profit entity, just be specific. What kind? And I guess it was the only one of its kind. And oh, okay, green light.
Nice. Good for you. That's cool.
Oh, and of course, then, life happened in 2021. Damn, that was insane. 2022 was insane. We couldn't
Yeah.
meet for like 2 years. And then just to kind of see in 2022, where'd everybody go? Who's left over? We started the process of just like, you know what? Why don't we just find out if this is worth keeping? Because I did want to dissolve the company because I thought like between moving upstate and like the timing was bad, then it wasn't like just let it go. Like it was a great idea, but I'm not ready for it. But about a year later, the state actually canceled the dissolvement because they said I didn't file my taxes. And I'm like, but I'm like, we didn't do any. What do you mean? We didn't do anything. So like, what's there to file? I was like, then you're supposed to file nothing. But nothing is like I filed nothing. But no, you're supposed to actually
Weird.
write down the nothing part. Oh,
That's
so
very bizarre.
and I'm like, so you couldn't verify whether or not there were any not taxes to file because I didn't file the nothing? And they're like, yeah. And even though I made nothing, I still had to file. Yes. And I'm like,
Very bizarre.
so I mean, no, I mean, like there were times during that dissolvement process throughout that year where I was having second thoughts, saying like maybe I shouldn't dissolve the company. Maybe I should just be patient and wait. And it was actually it was in our favor that it's just like, okay, the state canceled the dissolvement, so now what? Start over, start fresh. And it was like around June of 2022, we did our first like get back together. We had like 60 people show up to a mixer. It's like, oh
Wow.
shit, people are still around. A lot of people stayed around for like the group photo. And by that time, dude, I gained like 70 pounds. I was so depressed. Hi guys, I'm back. Yeah, you're not gonna believe what happened to me. I know, but I'm doing good. I lost 60 of it, so I'm
Good for
doing.
you. Yeah, you look very trim.
Thank you. I literally just stopped drinking and I stopped hurting myself and I started just
Good.
accepting that things are only going to get better and we're doing very well and just I got to be.
Good.
I just decided
Yeah.
to stop being like and not only to stop hurting myself, but be patient. Hold on, like you got let God do His thing and just wait. So it was like summer of 2022. We started the process for the Triborough Film Festival. Uh, we didn't get a single submission for like the first 3 months. And then in September of 2022, we got our first one. And then we got about 30 over the next 3 months. And then I goofed. I tried to put a discount code on the film freeway saying submit your film. So on Christmas Day, I sent out a discount code just to get like maybe a few more hours. I goofed because the discount code was not a percentage off the submission fee. It was actually 0%. So it's like, oh shit. And so for 24 hours, I had free submissions for a day on Christmas Day. I had no idea until the next day. And I'm like, stop, stop, stop. And then we went over to like over 40 films got submitted in one day. And I'm like,
Wow.
shit. And I had to review every single one and be like, okay, you're in, you're in, you're in. This is good. Wait, you're not, you're from China. I can't accept you. No, hold on. This. And like,
No, it's very time consuming. I used to watch films for a film festival, and it could be very, very time consuming.
I got nothing but time. That like it's like for me, this is something like I really enjoy doing it. I appreciate the work. I respect the hustle of these guys. I really do. I've been doing this since 2008 and like being a part of this and then seeing something finished. I'm like, I that is not easy to do. That is hard. Like this is what a great shot. Like all these things coming through my head. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Making a film, even a short film, it's not easy.
No. And then like I tried to like even just get permits and it's like I'm starting out way too hard and complicated because there's only one thing I'm really passionate about, but it's on like uh county government property, the facility. You need certain workers' comp insurance, and just to step foot on there, you actually got to get all these check marks off. And I'm like, okay, I'm familiar with that just a little bit with renting out theater spaces for a film festival. So liability stuff is a real thing. Okay. But it's also like a tax on being or like almost a permission slip to do it. And the tax is so fucking high where it's like you're not even looking at the budget. You're just saying this is a fee. And I'm like, bro, it's like a toll. Like, and it's not like it's a rollover where you have like data on your phone still left over because you didn't use it. I can't roll this over until the appointed time. So it's like a gamble. And the house is always winning because they're not there's nothing like
Yeah.
that should have lasted at least a year without incident. And then
Yeah.
something like I can't spend that every like that.
No, I understand. I mean, maybe you can make a movie in an abandoned building or a public park.
And you could be the attorney.
No, I can't.
We can make no. It could be a movie about a lawsuit because these guys were doing that thing in the movie, and then the law guy.
Okay, yeah. If you want me to be the actor in it, sure.
You could be the writer or the actor. It's up to you. But it's like, what happens in a circumstance that's fake? Because I didn't get to ask you before, but did you ever kind of feel like, just like, what's the backstory of the person who got hurt after all these thousands of cases?
No, I didn't. I was very uncompassionate. I was just like, it was like widgets. It was like widgets. It's like, this is the case. I have to do this. I have to do that. On to the next one. But it started to affect me. I started to feel guilty. And I'm like I said, if someone got injured and it's another person's fault and they're entitled to compensation, they should get it. So like, I couldn't do my job anymore. I was feeling very guilty and I didn't enjoy it.
Welcome to Happy Corner. This project strives to make safe housing areas for stray cats at an affordable price. It's so easy to put together that even your children could have fun making one. Help keep cats and other animals safe with their own little Happy Corner homes. You can help this project become a reality by donating to the GoFundMe page. Happy Corner homes are a great way to show those animals in need it's okay to be happy.
Did you ever feel like just like the industry of the insurance world, there's something fictitious about it?
I don't like the insurance industry. It's not so much that it's fictitious, it's just very uncompassionate. And I understand, if an insurance company is in a situation where they're not liable, then they don't have to pay, and that's what the law is. And I understand that. I just don't want to be part of it.
Well, where did we come up with the idea of liability?
That's a good question. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, like how, like I always like I kind of understand the concept of liability, but it's also like, don't we like automatically, in a manner of speaking, the second, we're born and circumstances change, don't you assume the risk and sort of like the ownership of your own life?
I mean, it's true. It's true. I don't know how these, principles develop, but I'm sure, they're quite old. And somebody along the way said, well, if you do A to, if you do this to another person, the other person's involved to compensation. I mean, I'm sure that developed a long time ago. I don't know how or why, but
Well, one thing that kind of just like struck a chord in me, I'm sure you saw the movie Titanic, right?
yes.
So, like, one thing was kind of curious. Like, they were looking for like the jewel of the ocean or something like that throughout the whole movie. That was the point of the whole expedition. And meanwhile, Rose had it in her pocket the whole time. So, there was something that kind of like affected me is that the people who owned that jewel, they had an insurance policy on it in case anything were to ever happen. And apparently, they did file a claim because it was lost at sea and the money was paid for by the insurance company, right? Now, it's like if insurance coverage was known and they're willing to like pay a lot of money to just like, yeah, all right, compensate people. And even the idea back then in 1912, but it was already then. I don't know. Did you hear any rumors of like the first case in a liability lawsuit or something like that with insurance ever
Oh,
came up?
that's a good question. Um, I mean, I don't know when the first one happened, but it was, I'd say at least, you know, 200 or 300 years ago. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they had it like at the time of the founding fathers, but
I,
like
I bet
law and
you're.
lawsuits developed, like I would think sometimes in the 1800s. I don't know. I don't know the history of it though.
What about the Boston Tea Party?
That was a good thing because people were protesting. They weren't happy with their government. So I think that was a good thing.
But I'm curious. Like, do you think the who's liable for all that tea getting lost?
People who threw it over. I mean, that's private property. They destroyed it. So they could have gotten prosecuted criminally, but they also could have gotten sued civilly. But I guess at that time, there weren't lawsuits for, you know, mouth for doing something, inappropriate. I guess one reason why it developed is they want to discourage people from harming other people. So I think that's one reason behind it to sort of like keep society from to discourage people from harming other people.
But wouldn't there be an insurance policy in case there was piracy or an act of piracy happening?
There could be. That's a good question. Did they have insurance if you got robbed by a pirate? I don't know that. I do not know.
Now we're getting somewhere because I think that's where storytelling is really important because if we don't know something like we have theories, but my biggest question is why are things the way they are right now and how did that and it's like there's always something in you where it's just like I don't like that. How long has this been going on? And the thing that kind of bothers me sometimes is that we're inheriting a world that we didn't really contribute to the development of for the way things are, and we have to adapt to the way things are. And I got a spiritual problem with that because so you're asking me deliberately to conform to the ways of this world. And I'm like, I can't do that. It's against my religion. And then I'm going back and forth in my head. So with
Yeah.
Seneca, it kind of just makes me wonder, time out, time out, time out. Liability, the fictitious stuff, assuming the risk. It's one thing to like, really just, as a backup plan, safety's sake. And then you got constitutional rights. And then you got policies and things that are happening sort of like below and above our lives, which apply to everybody. They do and they don't. But you have to have like car insurance, for example, even though you already bought the car, you own it, but you can't actually drive it without insurance. And I'm like,
Right.
why? So it,
Yeah. Well, I think it's a dangerous thing, so they want people to be responsible with it.
that I understand, but it's also like, but you could register your weapons as, a lethal weapon, or you could register
True.
your hands as a lethal weapon. So it's like, so wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're telling me that you're walking around with unregistered hands and you know how to fight?
I mean, that's true. You can look at it that way. I mean, I don't really know the whole history behind it of lawsuits and insurance. I really don't know.
That's what I mean. It's almost like we're being pulled in this direction of an alternative reality, you know, where it's like you have like it's like that's where I feel like the Wizard of Oz kind of comes into play around this time because there was this theory about the straw man and the person you are, the sovereign human being. But then there's the paper you and the jurisdiction part that actually applies to you. And then how you spell somebody's name, which is how we pronounce your name. But then you got your legal name, which is same spelling, but it's all in capitals. And it's
Right.
like, wait a minute, there's two people, and now there's two worlds that we're living in right now.
Right.
I think it's sort of like a deterrent, and it's a bit of a we're pulling you automatically without your consent, without your knowledge, without telling you the way things are. Meanwhile, they're just making shit up the whole time. It's like all of this stuff is completely made up,
Right. Right.
and I'm like, but we don't want to play the game. You have to. No, I don't.
True. I mean, there's a lot of things in society you don't have a choice over. Like, you can't drive a car without insurance. And if you borrow money, you have to pay interest on it. So yeah, there's a lot of things that, society makes mandatory.
But it's interesting. It's just like it's one thing if you borrow money, but who actually created that? You know? So it's
Um,
like, do you have a license to loan out money that you don't even have, that you didn't even actually invent? So wait a minute, time out.
yeah. No, we live in interesting times for sure.
You ever feel like curious about watching movies like that or like creating movies like that that kind of just like just completely not only stir the pot, but just like you realize the pot never existed.
Yeah, I mean, I like to have a little bit of a cause for my films. Like the one I just made, it's about a bird, so I kind of want to, raise awareness of treating animals fairly and you
Yeah, of
know,
course.
yeah,
I think that's the most like I don't know what the antithesis of fictitious is, but I think that's what human beings actually are. They're caretakers of like of all life, you know, caretakers of creatures, caretakers of the animals, whether it's like on the ground. I think it's the fowl of the air, the beast of the land, or something like that. I believe we have that dominion, and we're caretakers of them.
absolutely. Yeah, I went to a talk with the Dalai Lama, and he said we should have compassion for humans, but we should also have compassion for animals. So I thought that was really interesting that he said that.
Oh, you should see my dog Snow. She's a what a personality. She's a peach.
Dogs are the best. The last film I made was about a dog.
Ah, don't even get me started. Like, yeah, don't even get me started because I've always somehow been in the right place at the right time, rescuing animals. It happened since I was a kid, whether it was a cat, whether it was like dogs, two dogs, and like within 10 minutes, it was the weirdest experience. I was 11 or
Wow.
12 years old. It was a time just like this. It was winter time. This dog somehow made its way into my garage, very friendly. And I was like, "Hey, dog, what are you doing here?" He's like, nothing." I'm like, "Are you lost?" And he's like, wagging his tail at me. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I told him, "Wait right here." And I told my dad. He comes in. The dog did not move. He's wagging his tail, saying, "Hi, I'm lost." And I'm like, "Oh, all right." So like, it turned out to be a new neighbor's dog from way on the other side of the farmlands. I'm like, "Oh man, he really got lost." But he left paw prints behind because it was snow, and he's just like trying to find his way back, and he can't see it. Like he sees in black and white, and there's nothing but snow falling down in front of his face. He can't see nothing. So she
Sure.
ended up getting the dog within the hour. We found him. Like she found us. It was like, okay, we got him. And then not even within that minute of them leaving, a second dog comes out from the woods, from across the street at my neighbor's house. And I'm like, it's this golden Labrador, very healthy, very fit. And he just kind of just runs up saying like, "I'm lost too, help." And he comes right to this dog. And it's like one of those things where it's scary. And I grab him and like, "Come here, you." And now we got a second dog that popped up out of nowhere. And
Yeah, that's unusual. Wow.
that was so bizarre. My dad could probably tell this story the exact same way because he was right next to me when it happened. And I'm like 10 or 11 years old when this happened.
Wow.
I think that dog's name was his dog's name was that dog's name was Champ. So what ended up happening was we held on to him for a little bit and we brought him inside. He was very friendly. It really pissed off one of my cats. He's like, "Did you just bring a strange dog in from off the street?" And the cat, I just remember her eyes just lit up, being like, like she gave me that look, and like, "You're kidding me right now." That was my cat, Fuzzy, also a rescue. I rescued like 2 years before. But what ended up happening was that was even more interesting, is because we knew that we couldn't keep him. So my dad brought us to the police station into the village, and we just left the dog in the house, kind of like had him like in the playroom downstairs in the basement, away from the cats, by the laundry room. Nice, safe area. It was like our playroom downstairs. So what happened was we went right to the police station. We wanted to report a dog found. So within 5 minutes, we finish filling out the report, and just as we're about to leave, a guy comes in, and he was looking for a lost dog, and it happened to be that exact same dog as we were about to. So it's like it was the weirdest thing, dude. So like as soon as like the person leaves, with this one dog who lost their dog. She came, she picked it up, and just as they leave, this guy comes in, and now the same thing happens while we're at the police stations. Just as we're about to leave, that guy comes in, and that's how we found out the dog's name was Champ. All right,
That's wild. That's a crazy story. Good for you, though.
and I'm literally that's just, dude. For some reason, I'm just kind of in the right place at the right time when it with animals,
Right.
like
That's cool. Good for you.
it's a serendipitous thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, and dude, yeah, like when I was a kid, if a dog got lost, it happened to my dad's firefighter friend. It took me an hour to track him down. His name was Hunter, but I did. I ended up tracking him down. My dad would dog sit a couple times, and I would somehow find the dog. And I was not even 10 years old around that time.
Nice. Very good.
I forgot all about those stories. But yeah, those are the movies that play inside my head because I got a lot of good memories.
Yeah, you should make a movies about that. I think people find it very poignant.
I could do short movies. Like there's a lot of little short films that I'd like to do, and I write often. And when when I watch everybody else's films, the one thing that really does occur to me between the AFC and the Triborough Film Festival is that I'm seeing and meeting people with real legitimate skill sets who could actually make the movies that are definitely going in my head. And I'm creating the space with the Astoria Filmmakers Club to create the movies that's in their head.
Yeah, you have a great opportunity to work with so many talented, creative people. So yeah, you have to start shooting some of your ideas for sure.
Well, we're on the precipice, so I think it's going to happen soon.
Good,
But
good, good, good.
I think 3 years is a good foundation where now we could focus on, our first collaborative film. And then, every year, new filmmakers come in, second year, and just move up and just see what type of ideas we could create together.
That's a good idea. Yeah, for sure.
And is there anything like that you want to create in the near future that you really got your heart on?
Yeah, that's a good question. I just finished this one about the bird and I'm submitting it. So I don't have an idea at the moment. So I have to come up with something because I forgot. I made a documentary. I forgot about that. I just finished a documentary, a short documentary about this club that used to be in the city called the Ritz. And they used to have a lot of bands, like a lot of bands that became very, very big play there before they were big, like U2, Guns N' Roses, Depeche Mode. And I used to go there when I was a teenager. So I made a little documentary about the club, people who used to work there, people who used to go there. I totally forgot about that.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help bring it out.
Thank you. Yeah, I submitted it to some festival. We'll see what happens.
How long is it?
10 minutes and 38 seconds. It's the longest movie I've ever made.
And
Very proud of myself.
no AI, no generated backgrounds, or like
No AI. It's just, I interviewed some people on Zoom. I interviewed some people on purpose. I found a bunch of old photographs. So it's basically a combination of, Zoom interviews, live interviews, and photographs. I didn't get, like, I didn't want to license any songs because it's crazy expensive. So I was paying for everything myself. So I have music in it, but not, it's royalty free music.
Oh, I mean, that's not a big deal. Like, are you pleased with the story? You like how it came out?
Yeah, I like the way it came out. I mean, it's because one of the people who were interviewed, she was a really nice, really interesting person. And, she has cancer, but she had just like such a positive energy about her. So she has all these tattoos. So she was just a really good person to interview.
Uh, do you have like a public library in that city or that area where you filmed it?
No, I got everything online. I found everything online. I didn't go to we do have a good library system here, but no, I found all the material and the content online.
Well, I was curious. Like, did you get any feedback from the area?
Oh no, I just finished it like a couple days ago.
Oh, so brand new. So nobody, you didn't get any feedback yet to kind of be like, how?
Correct. I mean, I showed it to my sister. She liked it. But like I said, I submitted it to some festivals and a couple festivals in New York City because that's where the club was. So, we'll see what happens. I'd like to see it at least once on a big screen with an audience. So I hope I have that opportunity at some point.
Which city was it about? Cleveland or was it about us?
No, it was a club that was in the Village on East 11th Street in Manhattan. And it was a club that existed from like 1980 to 1992. I used to go there when I was a teenager. I used to go there. It was awesome.
Well, you do realize that technically qualifies right now, today, in this moment for the Triborough, right?
I didn't realize it until you just said it. I could submit it if you'd like. Sure.
Dude, like, wait, so you made a document. So you're from Brooklyn. A, you qualify. You made something that is specifically about a famous club in New York, and it's a Battle of the Boroughs All City Film Festival, and you didn't even think, and you were already in the festival, but it didn't click in your head?
Honestly, it didn't. It didn't. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I'll submit it. I love to submit it because I'll have the opportunity to watch it on a big screen. Right after this, I'll submit it. I mean, honestly, when we were talking just now, I forgot. I was just focused. I just finished the one with the birds. I've been focused on the bird one. I will submit.
That qualifies too. You're from New York.
I know, but I feel it's kind of indulgent to submit like 3 films to one festival at the same time.
That's not uncommon. I have filmmakers every year that submit up to 3 films.
Really?
I got one guy this year that submitted 3. I got every year, and last year was a guy, I think it was Phil Russell. Shout out! I think he co-produced and had something to do with 3 different projects. So, like, yeah, that counted. And the year before, was a guy who had 3 projects. No, he won 3 awards because, oh man,
Wow.
he did real good. There were a couple. There was actually 3-time winners between 2 films. It was a documentary called There Goes the Neighborhood that won 3 awards that night and did very
Wow.
yeah, it performed very well, and the competition was definitely there. We had a very good variety that first year, but the other one was called the Pit and the Pendulum, a musicabre. It was literally a musical adaptation of the poem by Edgar Allan Poe, The Pit and the
Yeah.
Pendulum.
Mhm.
So like that kind of helped me understand it a little bit better because when I read the poem, I had no idea what the hell I was reading.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. And then this guy comes in and creates a dark Renaissance witch hunter style musical. And with every single scene and every single bit from that poem was brilliant. I finally understood exactly what the hell was happening in the poem, A, and B, the way he did it with the musical element and the set design, the wardrobe. This guy did not cut a single corner, and that the routine of adapting that was brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. Very cool.
This guy, it probably took him 6 months to a year to actually do it.
Wow.
Like if I really hope Dan, his name was, I remember, Dan Daniel. He did such a wonderful job in that movie. He was the lead actor. Like you couldn't even tell because he literally looked like Edgar Allan Poe in the show because he put the work in. He changed everything, grew the beard. But when you meet him in real life, like you couldn't even recognize him. You didn't even know it was him.
That's amazing. Good for him.
Yeah, the guy absolutely crushed it. I truly hope this guy like got that picked up somewhere, or if it's on like PBS where it's like a little hidden gem of local artists or something like that, where people get to watch something like that. That'd be, I mean, I got to meet some people from PBS being like, guys, I got some stuff. You got to see it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, dude, I would love to take a look at the documentary. We have room, you know,
All right.
and
I'll send it as soon as we sign off. I'll send it to you.
deal. Oh, damn. And I didn't even mean like I still got two movies I still got to review, and I got time today to actually do a review. And that's great, man. I can't wait. If people wanted to like get in contact with you, reach out, touch base, network, how could people find you?
That's a good question. I don't have a website, and I usually don't put any of my films online because they're on the festival circuit. So I guess the best way to reach out to me would just be my, what's the best way? I guess my email would be the best way, which is basically my name. It's J like John, and it's Maslowski, the number 2 at gmail.com.
Gotcha.
But like, don't list it publicly. If someone wants to get in touch with me, you could give it to them. But don't like put it on a website or anything. I don't want to get spam.
I don't think robots are going to be listening to the podcast. Usually it's a human being that actually listens to this podcast. And it's usually,
if you're watching the podcast, feel free to email me. Yes.
yes, if you're watching the podcast and you want to get in touch with John, please shoot him an email. Did you have, but you don't have Instagram or anything like that because of your social media?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I am on Instagram. I actually still use Instagram. So Instagram would probably be better. John_Maslowski1. And I do check Instagram every day. So you could pop me a message on Instagram.
I forgot who was asking me the other day about puppetry, but do you have a puppeteer background or is this your first one?
No, I don't know anything about puppetry. I was fortunate to find this gentleman online, and his puppet's great. I mean, it looks as good as a Jim Henson puppet. So I was really fortunate to find him. But no, I know nothing about puppetry. And, I've been to hundreds of festivals over the years, and I can't recall seeing one film with a live action puppet. I think I saw one, but it's just not a popular genre for film festivals.
Gotcha. Well, this is exciting, man. Was really happy to meet you. I'm really looking
same here.
Where you think you can make it to the festival?
Yeah, I think I'm going to make it. My sister lives in the city, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make it out there. Yeah.
Would you be able to make it to the launch party?
Well, it depends. When is that?
I've been sending it out through Film Freeway on the Friday before, the night before. We're doing like a little launch party to get all the filmmakers together, just have them network and see each other, introduce each other. They're going to talk about the movies when and if they're playing the next day or on Sunday the following day. I'm working with
possibly. I'd have to fly into New York twice, so I don't know if I could do that. But thanks for the invite, for sure.
Oh, no problem, man. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to stay for the full 2 weeks if you had to?
No, I can't stay with my sister for 2 weeks. No, I love my sister, but I can't stay for 2 weeks.
How long's the drive from Cleveland? About 8 hours?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Wow, you nailed it. It's 8 hours. I've done the drive once, but I didn't like the drive, so I fly. If you fly, it's like an hour, so it's nice.
Oh, I've done that drive. In 2015, I did a tour around the country for a play, and
wow.
Yeah, we headed from Connecticut through New York, hit all 13 colonies, took I think it was I-10 all the way to Louisiana.
Wow.
And then we went true north directly towards Chicago, and then from Chicago we came back across the top of the country, did like a full lap around the East Coast and Midwest, directly back through Ohio, through Pennsylvania. I think we did a show in Cleveland.
Wow, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a couple. We did 2 shows in Ohio, I think. Forget the high school we went to. That was a nice little show. And then through Pennsylvania, and from there we went through New York and back to Connecticut.
All right, good for you. You're like a rock star touring the country.
That was an experience. And in 2015, man, oh man, did I need a break from like 3 intense years.
Sounds like it.
If you listen to the podcast episodes and you could just put the timeline of Phil Cappadora back together, that's a big part of it.
All right, Cool. Yes,
This
that's great. Thanks you for having me.
I'm so glad we got a chance to talk, man. And
You're very kind. I appreciate it.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish you a very Merry Christmas. And
Yes,
I did want to ask you one final question before we wrap things up.
absolutely.
I always end the podcast with a segment called "The Right Words at the Right Time," and I asked this question because when I first started out, I was reading a book called "The Right Words at the Right Time," and it was just a collective of interviews of all these household names that you would know today, and it was like over 100 people, celebrities, athletes, politicians, you name it. They were in the book, like at least like really top ones that you're familiar with. But once upon a time, in their early days, they were struggling, very similar to what we do today. And the question they were always asked was pertaining to the right words at the right time that just kept them going. So I wanted to ask you, John, the exact same question. Has anybody ever given you the right words at the right time that have always like stuck with you and just got you through everything that you ever really encountered, like the for better or worse, right words at the right time? Or do you have any words of your own that you would like to share to someone listening?
Right. Well, one of my favorite sayings is from Nike, just do it. Because fortunately, I don't procrastinate too much. If I want to do something, I do it. And I just love that phrase, just do it. Because there's a million reasons not to do something, but if you just do it, it gets done. Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. Just do it.
Sorry, Nike.
Sorry, Nike. But hey, I mean, like, they weren't wrong. Just do it.
Exactly. It's so simple, but at least for me, it's very effective.
Is that Greek for victorious?
Not sure. I don't know that.
I think it is. Like, I just remember it was like Nike. I'm almost certain it's Greek, and I believe it just means victory or victorious.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm almost certain, but yeah, that was still, what a great brand, great shoes. Like I always had a T-shirt as a kid with Nike on it, always.
Yeah. I think I'm wearing one right now, actually.
Are you really?
I am wearing a Nike shirt right now.
Under Puma? Hey, let's go.
Nike under
Yeah.
Puma. Yeah, I'm double dipping on corporate America. Yeah.
Oh, dude, no, it's cool. I worked for Puma for a brand ambassador event, and I got a free pair of shoes as a courtesy thank you. And I really like those shoes.
Yeah, no, Puma's good. Puma's a great company. I think they're German, actually. I don't think they're American. I'm not sure, but
And go figure, I think the cat is in South America.
oh, okay.
I think. I don't even remember where the cougar is from, the puma, the mountain lion, the lynx, the bobcat, uh,
Right.
all these big cats. But this is great, John. Thank you so much for your time. I want to wish you all the best at the film festival. I'm looking to watch your movies again, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you so much for having me. Happy holidays.
And I'll leave you with this. Wherever you are and all that you do, always remember to never forget community, creativity, and joy.
I like that. You're very positive. A lot of positive energy. That's good.
When you go through hell and you find paradise, you want to stay there for a while.
Absolutely.
This is great, man. Catch you later.
All right, take care.
Ciao for now.
Thank you.